This is NBK, nothing but Knicks. When send past the assist, you know that it's #1 show that breaks down the game. If you can't play defense, stay out my way. Dribble the ball, come down the lane. 5 seconds on the shot clock, who gon' win us the game? You wanna hear Nick updates and trade rumors? Post-game reviews, this the place to tune in. So tell a friend just to keep the ball moving. Like the page if you feeling the movement. Every game we coming to win. Give us a sub like a player that came off the bench. This is NBK, nothing but Knicks.
Here we go, Knicks family. Here we go, ladies and gentlemen. The Knicks made a couple of moves today that are going to set them up for free agency, which begins tomorrow at 6 p.m. And we got a group here. We got Steph, we got Nate, we got Knot in the building to have a nice discussion about what the Knicks did, why they did what they did, and who do we think the Knicks are going to go after beginning at 6 p.m. tomorrow or today, depending on what time you're watching this video. So let's go ahead and let's get with it. Break it down. See what's going on. Nate, what's popping with you, man? How you feeling?
I'm doing good, man. Doing good. Just, post-draft, just ready for free agency. So the whole thing starts 6 o'clock when teams can start signing, or can they negotiate at midnight tonight?
Well, I think teams can begin to negotiate tomorrow at 6.
Oh, okay.
Right. And then they have, they can begin to approach players, negotiate, and then they have a moratorium period. I think that's August 6th when they can start to sign players.
Yeah, August 6th
right?
is when they can sign, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so, they got a couple of days to talk with people and work some things out. And every year, each team has one player that they say, this is who we're pursuing right from the beginning. I'm not going to ask you about it now, but a little bit later I'm going to ask you. But I just want to know what you think and who you think that one player is that the Knicks are going to pursue right off the bat in free agency tomorrow. Steph, how you doing?
I'm doing good, Sam. Shout out to you, the panel, the chat. Looking forward to free agency. I think it's going to be a tough go for the Knicks. They have so many roster spots to fill, and this is a weak free agency class. So it's going to be interesting to see what they do.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be interesting to see what they do. There's a lot of positions that they've got to fill. No doubt about it. A lot of positions they got to fill. And I guess there's players out there. I guess, that can fill those positions, that can fill the skill needs that they have. And I think they've filled some of those needs in the draft. We'll talk about that a little bit. But the value of the players, I don't know. It's hard for me. Like Evan Fournier, right? He fits a shooting skill that the Knicks need. But reports are saying that he wants $20 million a year. Is he worth $20 million a year for the New York Knicks? I don't know. It's a tough one. It's hard to say. Not what's going on with you, my brother. How you feeling?
What's up, man? Good evening.
Good evening to you, man. Good evening to you. How you feeling about free agency right now?
I'm excited, man. I think potentially we get some dogs in here, that's going to want to represent for our city. And we're going to get some players in here that probably going to excel and take us to the next level.
I hope so. Let's hope so. I mean, there's at least going to be 1 or 2 guys out there that can really take you to the next level, but it's going to be hard to get those guys. We'll see if the Knicks have the ability to get them, but it's going to be tough to get them. Without a doubt. And Eddie C, I see you got your microphone off. I'm not sure if you're there, if you're available yet. What's going on with you, Eddie, man? How you feeling?
I'm doing good, man. I just had like a little technical difficulties with some plumbing right now.
Okay.
My sink started leaking, so I just went over and checked on it. But I'm doing good, man. I'm just waiting for this free agency, I guess. It's coming quickly. It's going to come tomorrow at 6 o'clock. We're already getting some news about what's going to happen, which players are basically off the board. And I'm kind of not liking it, because there's a lot of players that I was interested in getting, and those players are flying off the board. So I guess I guess it looks like we're going to be either left with scraps, or the organization has got to get creative and make some trades happen, some sign-in trades, trade some players, trade some of their assets to try to fill in these spots, because, you know, the news that's going down, I mean, there's not going to be much players available. Everybody that's a free agent is a free agent in quotations. You know, they're just basically declining their options to get better deals with the same teams that they're on.
Well,
there's already deals already being brokered for signing trades and all this stuff. So
yeah,
I don't know. It's looking slim pickings. It ain't even Monday, and it's looking like slim pickings out there for us.
And you know what's crazy? They have this time period to say, oh, you can't start talking to free agents until August the 2nd, and this, that, and the third, right? But we all know that these back channels are working every day, right? They're working at the Olympics. They're working at whatever other event that's going on where players are able to come together. Agents and GMs are able to come together. Because every year we see, bam, right off the bat, this player signed here, this player signed there, this player signed there. Before 6 o'clock, I can guarantee you tomorrow, 5 o'clock, 4 o'clock, you start hearing this player is going to sign with Chicago. This player is going to sign with Miami. This player is going to sign with Los Angeles. Right? Before 6 o'clock even hits. You know, but hey, that's, you know, what are you going to do? That's the NBA.
Looks like, from what I heard, they took away the tampering, I guess, from this point, you know, the point where you can start having dialogue, and until they're able to sign the free agents. Like, there was like a tampering rule in the NBA where you couldn't do this, you can get fined, or you can take a draft pick away. From what I heard, they took that out. I don't know if it's just for this season, since it's so little time in between the draft and the free agency and whatever, or if they're going to keep it like that. So even with the tampering, the Milwaukee Bucks got a second-round pick taken from them because of the same thing, right? Or it was either that or they got money taken away. Remember that they had a deal in place for Bogdan Bogdanovic before they can make the deal. And then it had to get rescinded because Bogdan Bogdanovic didn't agree to the terms. So you're right, man. This happens all the time. Like right now, those guys are talking. The New York Knicks are trying to talk to whatever the case is. And I don't know about you, but I don't really mind it. I mean, it doesn't bother me none that these people start talking to the players as soon as they can, or because it happens within the players themselves. You know, the players get recruited by other players, not necessarily because the organization wants them to do it, just because they feel like they want to do it. They want to play with a certain player. But, you know, I don't really mind that stuff, man. It's like, what are you going to do if some people want to play together, you know? If you want to play with your squad, you know, you come with your squad to the party, and that's it.
Yeah, look, there's not much you can do about it. You know, they have tampering rules in effect. The tampering rules are still there. They just don't really enforce them unless there's something that's really, really blatant. But look, the New York Knicks have already done some things to start freeing up even more cap space. All right, they did it in the draft. That was part of the reason that they traded down. They were never going to bring in 2 first-round draft picks, right? Because that's guaranteed money that they have to spend. So they weren't going to do that. So they traded down. They got 1 draft pick that they are guaranteed to pay. That's Quentin Grimes. And that's probably going to be, you know, no more than $2 million, I guess, somewhere around there. Maybe a little bit more than $2 million. I don't know. Whatever the salary scale is for him. And then for the other picks, for Deuce McBride, you know, he's a 2nd round pick, so his money isn't guaranteed. So they'll work out, I guess, a fair contract for Deuce McBride. And then the other guys, they'll probably work out a fair contract for them as well. But they saved some money. And then they saved a little bit more money today, right? Because they did a couple of moves to prepare themselves for free agency, which begins tomorrow. So the first thing that they did was exercise the option on Mitchell Robinson. Right? And you can see the Knicks PR made the announcement. The Knicks exercised the team option on center Mitchell Robinson, and they waived center Norvell Pell. All right, so by exercising that team option on Mitchell Robinson, they pick him up for $1.8 million for next season, and then they have the ability to extend him. Right? They can extend him. I don't know when the deadline is to offer him an extension, but they can offer an extension to Mitchell Robinson, and then they save the money that they were paying Norvell Pell. And I don't have those exact figures right now. I'll get them for you in a minute. I think it was probably no more than $2 million a year that they were paying Pell. Okay, so they saved some money there. And then, well, before we go on to anything else, Steph, let me get your thoughts and your opinions on just that right there. They picked up Mitchell Robinson's contract and they waived Norvell Pell. Did they waive Norvell Pell? I'll start there. Did they waive him because they drafted Jericho Sims? Do they believe that much in Jericho Sims?
Either that or they're going to bring in another. I think they're going to bring in another backup center, whether they believe in him or not. I mean, he hasn't played in not 1 minute in the NBA, so I don't know if you can count on him like that. I think they're going to bring in somebody else to back up Mitch. I do think Sims has a shot to get some minutes, though. I think signing Mitch was important. I'm glad they did that. They have an opportunity to extend him during the season, really see what they have in him before deciding if they want to sign him. If they don't, I don't think they're allowing him to get unrestricted free agency. I think they're going to either extend him or they're going to trade him before the season is out.
Extend them or trade. Now, but even if they extend him, they could still trade him.
Yeah.
Right? They could still trade him. I don't know. What do you think he's worth as far as extending him? What is he worth?
I'm not giving him more than 12. And if I can get away with less than that, I'd be happy.
I've been hoping that we can get away with less than that because I'm just, I mean.
Like 8? I don't think he's signing 8.
He probably isn't. He probably isn't signing 8, but so how many years? That $12 million a year, how many years?
3.
3 years? Okay, I guess 3 years. 3 years, $36 million. You know, well, here's the thing. They don't have to worry about it this summer. You know, that's next year. But I guess they would have to worry about the extension in probably somewhere around October. Right? Somewhere around October.
Is there a deadline on when you can offer an extension?
There normally is, but I'm not exactly sure when that date is. But yeah, there's normally a deadline when you've got to offer that extension. So we'll see. Nate, I know you got some thoughts on Mitchell Robinson. You got to unmute yourself. You'll get ready to say something. You got to unmute yourself. Go ahead. I know you got some thoughts on Mitch.
Yeah, I mean, I personally think that the writing's on the wall with Mitch. I think it starts with him changing agents again. I think he wants more money. He feels that he deserves more money. And that's why you go to a new agent, because you want more money. You want the best deal possible. I think the Jericho Sims drafting, I think it doesn't spell Mitch, but I definitely think you're bringing a young big in who's got crazy athleticism. Mm-hmm. And I also think that you're going to bring back Taj Gibson. I think that's the reason why maybe Pell got waived, is because now you're bringing a guy like Sims in, and also too, I think you're going to bring back Taj Gibson too. So you don't need a Noel. You're not going to need necessarily a Pell. So, and he's a cheaper deal because, like you said, it's not guaranteed his contract. So, but as far as Mitch, I just think like, hey, you know, with those last 2 injuries this year, there's a big question mark with him. Big question mark. And I just don't know if he fits New York's time plan now, especially if we're now in more of a win now mode.
I don't know. I guess that could be. I think that they still believe in Mitch's talent. I do. I think they still believe in his talent and believe that he could be I mean, listen, we missed him. Not having Mitch hurt us against the Hawks. It was pretty evident that not having Mitch hurt us. You know what I mean? I mean, he's a big body. He got a little bit bigger over the summer so far. I think he's around 245 pounds now. Same size as Jericho Sims. He may not be able to jump like Jericho Sims can jump, but hey, Mitch has been in the NBA. Like Steph said, Jericho Sims hasn't proven anything or shown anything in the NBA yet. You know, he's a second-round pick, 58th pick or whatever it is. He might just be in Westchester for a little while.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
He probably should be to develop his game.
Yeah, yeah. And so that's where I think you're right, Steph. He probably isn't really going to be too much of a threat unless he just comes in and, you know, wows everybody. I think they're probably going to look for a more established center. I think they're probably still interested in Nerlens Noel, although I think he may go elsewhere. You know, if you're a playoff team and they're looking to win basketball games and make some noise in the playoffs, you know, I think your entire starting five, the guys that you rely on, need to be established and have some veteran savvy to them, and have some experience. And, you know, I don't think you're looking at a rookie, you know, to do that. You know, does he get some minutes off the bench? Yeah, but I don't think you're looking at a rookie to say, yeah, you know, we're gonna ride with you. You know, not on a play, not on an established. Well, they're not an established perennial playoff team, but a team that's really looking to make some noise. It's the rare rookie that I think, you know, you can rely on them as a main go-to guy for the playoffs. You know, Rondo was like one of those rare rookies. Obviously, you got your stars, you know, the LeBrons and guys like that. Well, go ahead, Nate.
I just had a question for you. You know, talking about drafting Mitch, signing a guy like Noel, drafting a guy like Jericho Sims. Does this team not value bigs that can score?
I think they value bigs that can play defense more. I
agree with that.
I'll say that.
I definitely agree with that.
I think they value that a little bit more.
Okay.
Yo, Sim, and what do you have you heard about the rumors that they've been talking to about 4 or 5 teams trying to trade Mitch, and then there was also something that came up that the New York Knicks were trying very hard to get Miles Turner in a trade, but it seems like Indiana wasn't budging. Seeing things like that kind of leads me to believe that I think they might, instead of even going for Damian Lillard, might try to get one of these big time centers, maybe like a Joel Embiid, you know, try to package the same types of deals that they would have for Damian Lillard for Joel Embiid, so they can solidify that center position, you know, somebody who's a superstar or a center who can score, who can spread the floor a little bit. Probably will help out Julius Randle and RJ Barrett in that sense. But, you know, obviously different tiers between a Joel Embiid and the guy from Indiana, Miles Turner. But you think they might go for something like that instead of going for the point guard that everybody thinks that we're looking for in the big deal, or the guard or the wing? That they might do something around the center position. Do you think there's any volatility to what these reports are coming out?
I think they might be interested in some of these guys, like a Miles Turner, definitely a Miles Turner, because he does a lot of what, you know, like Mitch and Nerlens Noel can do, except, you know, he doesn't spread the floor vertically like Mitch does and getting up in the air and catching those oops and things like that. But he can shoot the three. You know, he can score in the post a little bit more. Obviously, he's, you know, one of your top defensive bigs in the league. So I think there would be a lot of interest there. But I still believe the Knicks' primary focus is going to be bringing in a point guard. It has to be.
Yeah.
It has to be. It has
like Eddie C said, it's dwindling. When you look at these rumors, it looks like Lowry, Miami.
Yeah.
That's what it's looking like.
Yeah.
That Ball is gonna stay in New Orleans or go to Chicago. So Dinwiddie a sign and trade to Washington. So it's coming down to just Schroeder,
Dennis Schroeder.
and there was one other point guard like
Reggie Jackson.
It's like it's gonna be slim pickings at that position unless there's a trade.
Right. Dennis Schroeder, Reggie Jackson, unless they trade for Colin Sexton.
Right, they could do that.
I think a trade's going to be more likely.
From the Lakers, if they can do a little sign and trade, maybe a Kevin Knox for THT, being that, the Lakers are so cap strapped. But they're going to have to get creative. They're going to have to get creative. It's going to probably have to be in the trade market because free agency is done. Devontae Graham looks like he's going back to Charlotte. It's like, who's out there? Really?
No, I mean, I agree. I agree about, I agree. Who's out there? It's slim pickings. Dennis Schroeder could end up being the guy.
I hope not.
He could end up being the guy. I say this. As long as it's the right contract,
Right.
I'm not going to be upset about it.
Right.
Because I would rather the Knicks give someone like Dennis Schroeder, a couple dollars for 2 years or whatever it is, instead of saying, well, we didn't get him, so we're just going to blow it on a name. You know what I mean?
But does he really make his team better?
Is he better than Elfrid Payton?
Right. Well, everybody's better than Elfrid Payton.
I think he does make the team better. He may not be the leader that you need for the team at this point. But let me ask you this. If Kyle Lowry's gone, Lonzo Ball is gone, Chris Paul is gone,
Mike Conley.
Mike Conley's gone. Sounds like he's gonna re-up in Utah for, $75 million.
Spencer 3 years. Spencer Dinwiddie's gone.
Dinwiddie's gone. Like, who else? What else do you do, Nate?
Well, you're not gonna like my answer, but
well, give me an answer. I want to know what your answer is. What else? What do you do?
I mean, honestly, I think that. They could look at Deuce seriously running the point because he's a Tibbs guy. He's a bulldog.
You haven't even seen him touch.
No, I get it. I get what you're saying, but I'm just saying.
He ain't even hit. He hasn't even hit Summer League yet.
Yeah. And he's gonna ball out in Summer League.
He might.
Mark my words.
But what if he doesn't?
What if he does?
But even if he does, that doesn't mean that he becomes the starting point guard.
A superstar in the Summer League.
Right.
I mean, I just think it's funny because people want to go get Schroeder, and yet they'll crap on Sexton saying, well, he's not a league guard. Well, Schroeder's the same way. Schroeder's not a league guard either. He's a shooting guard in a point guard's body. He's going to look to get his own. He's not going to make the other team better, in my opinion. I'd rather just trade for Sexton.
Yeah, I don't have a problem with
don't have a problem with that either. But I'm just saying if they end up with Schroeder, okay, as long as it's the right contract. It's not like Dennis Schroeder is a bad basketball player.
Right.
I just don't think it fits what we're trying to do.
Well, which we need somebody who's going to play defense. And even if a guy doesn't play defense, if they have the defensive tools, they're going to play defense under Tibbs because he's going to hold them.
Yeah, we also need a guy to make shots, and he's not a good shooter either.
We do need a guy to make shots. But we won 41 games with Payton not making shots. So I agree with Sim. I don't want to give him a $20 million or $25 million a year contract for 4 years. But if the price is right, if it's a short contract and there's no other options and we're not able to trade for a Sexton, I don't want to go into the season with McBride or Luka as the starting point guard, having not seen them play.
Exactly.
But the reality is, y'all be okay with Schroeder, but realistically, he's going to be out of our price range. He wants over $100 million.
He might be.
I mean,
Yeah.
he could be.
Yeah.
Let's put it like this.
What?
Let's put it like this. Dennis Schroeder has been into the playoffs more than anybody we have signed. No lies. As a matter of fact, there was one season he averaged 24 points a game in the playoffs. In 2019, 2020, he averaged 17 points. 17 points a game in the playoffs.
And you also have to see, if all of the point guard positions have dried up in the league and there's only a few teams that are looking for point guards, you might have to concede and say to yourself, well, can I sign a big 1 year deal so I can show how much I'm worth? At that point, you have to, talk to your agent and see what different avenue you have to take, because once all the spots are filled and there's only one or two teams out there and they're not willing to pay what you're asking for, you're not going to sit out the year. You know what I'm saying? You're gonna have to try to work something out with a team and make it a team friendly deal, a show me deal, so you can try to get a better deal next year. There's a lot of things that can happen. Even those teams that have openings at point guards make a trade, and now you're stuck with nobody. It's like, what do you do then?
Yeah.
So
Right.
Yeah.
I think.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was just saying, I think realistically, I think the Knicks, because if you look at the way this draft went with a lot of teams, you've got teams that have arguably 3-point guards on their team. And I think the Knicks really have to just inquire about those teams and see if they'd be willing to part one of those point guards.
Mm-hmm.
Because I just, honestly, we have to find a point guard that's better than a 1 or 2 year deal. That is just a stopgap guard. We need to find somebody that we can build this team.
But if he's not there, you can't just force it.
Trade for one.
But then you have to find a willing partner.
Well, I mean, like I told
That's
you, there's
willing
other
to
teams
give.
that have look, Sacramento has 3 guys. They have Donovan. I mean, they have Davion, they have Tyler Halliburton, and they have Fox. I don't see them all playing those 3 guys at the same time.
Right.
I think there's one to be
asking
had
for
there.
more than we're willing to give.
Right. And Halliburton can play multiple. Halliburton can play multiple positions. He doesn't have to be stuck at a point guard.
I'm just saying, there's point guards out there. We just got to be willing to trade it. It's all about taking that risk.
No,
and I would take a risk on those guys.
I get it. I understand that. But if it doesn't happen, you gotta sign somebody. You gotta do something. You gotta sign somebody. I don't
bring
think
back Rose.
Rose may be in Chicago. He may end up in Chicago.
Oh, then we're screwed.
Rose may want to be in Chicago. So like the smart play, Nate. Probably the smart play would be to keep your assets and sign somebody who can be a placeholder for you for at least half a season, a full season. You can always find somebody who's amicable and that can get you through it, like they did last year with Elf and Payton, and we had a great year. We went to the playoffs. Somebody that comes to mind right now and got declined in their offer, I think he was with Detroit, is Corey Joseph. Corey Joseph is a player. He's a veteran point guard who plays defense. He plays on the national team with R.J. Barrett. He's a tough-nosed kid. I've always liked him as a player. So if everything is dried up and you can give a Corey Joseph a 1 year, $6 million deal like we've done before in the past, for him to be your starting point guard, then you can have Emmanuel quickly coming off the bench for him. I mean, and you save all of your assets instead of giving up a first-round pick or 2, where maybe down the road you might need that for a superstar player that might become available. So you have to try to look at the long game instead of saying, what can we do next year or for the next half a season, or for, you always have to look ahead.
Yeah, I get that. I totally understand. I mean, that's a given. You can go out and get a player if you want to, and just make him your point guard, like a stopgap. Again, another stopgap guy.
Yeah, I mean, so sometimes you have to do that. Listen, Dennis Schroeder last year averaged 15 points a game. He averaged 6 assists, 3.5 rebounds. He shot 43.7% from the field and 33.5% from 3. The 3-point shooting, his field goal percentage isn't jumping off the page, but it's not horrible. And he does have a good amount of playoff experience in the NBA. And he's still 27 years old. A guy that could be just reaching his prime. So don't be surprised if he ends up in the New York Knicks uniform. Let me get to Tony, and then we'll talk about Frank Ntilikina. Tony?
For the last time, I hope.
Yeah.
my levels is good. Y'all can hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, you good.
Yes, sir.
Yo, Blackest Time. Shout out to the chat. Glad to see you guys. Eddie C, that shirt is fire. Spin. Had a great time at the draft party, man.
Wow.
I'm looking forward to all the next events, man.
It was beautiful. It was beautiful, man. It was lovely.
Keep building that. So salute to you, Queen. Glad you made it. I don't know if Nate is still there. I don't see him on my screen, but salute to you, Nate. So I've been at work all day. I haven't really been on my phone. It sounds like decisions have been made with all these other guys that you were referring to, or speculation?
Strong speculation to say that. I don't think decisions have been. Strong speculation.
All right. Well, I mean, I'm not mad with Schröder. I think early into this past season, throughout the season, I think a lot of us talked about Schröder, and then as the season went on, it kind of like dwindled away, and we started talking about other guards that were on our wish list. But I think he's still a valuable player. I would not mind him at all. Like you said, so he has a lot of playoff experience. I mean, if you want to look at him, I would look at him like his entire career. So look at what he did with Atlanta, right? That's where he started off. He was a big part of them being number one team in the East, I believe, one year. Consistent playoff team, overachieving team. Again, with OKC, overachieving team. Vital part of that. I still think he learned a lot playing with CP3. So you can't take that experience away from him. Even if he didn't have a great year with the Lakers, I'm sure he learned a lot playing with LeBron and playing with that Lakers team. Under the pressure, the expectation. So I don't think the expectation would be as high coming here as it was for him last year in LA. I also think coming here, he should have some type of a chip on his shoulder, something to prove. He wants to prove to the to the league again and for us. So I wouldn't be mad at him at all. Yeah, I mean, I guess I don't even know if there's a price range. As long as we're not talking Maxfield, I wouldn't mind more than 2 years. I wouldn't mind 3 years. You know what I mean? As long as it's not, max. But what's his price range sounding like?
I don't know. I don't know. Some people.
He's asking for a lot.
I heard 20 million. Yeah, did he turn down or they couldn't come to terms with 84 years? And it's not from if I read that correct, it sounded like that's what he was asking for. But Lakers weren't going to go there. So I mean that price range, I don't think that's anything ridiculous for him.
I think he turned down the 4-year $84 million from the Lakers.
84. Okay, so 21 million.
But I think if the market dries up, he may not get that much.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Or if that's the case, I'm sure he would take more for less. Like Nate said, I think if he like, I'm not saying give this to him, but if it was literally 25 for 1 year, he's gonna take it. You know what I mean? And then we could work from there. If that's what Tibbs wants, that's what the organization wants. You know what I mean? But I'm not mad at it at all. The guy gets to the rim, defends. Um, Shooting is probably one of his low areas, but I would think he's a better shooter than Payton. I would think he would be less hesitant at the very least. The guy plays with an edge. He's younger. I think he fits the bill 100%.
Let's put it like this, Tony. I think he's missed the playoffs one time in his career.
Wow.
2013-14, he was on a playoff team with the Atlanta Hawks. He didn't play much. 14-15, playoff team. 15-16, playoff team with the Hawks. 16-17, playoff team with Atlanta. He didn't make the playoffs in 17 and 18. He was with Atlanta. They didn't make the playoffs. 18-19, made the playoffs with OKC. 19-20, made the playoffs with OKC. 2021, he made the playoffs with the Los Angeles Lakers.
He also was on good teams too.
He was also part of those good teams.
Yeah.
I mean, you say he's on good teams, but
That's why you take it back to Atlanta.
yeah, in 15-16, he averaged 11 points, 3.6 assists, 19 minutes a game, playoff team. 16-17, he averaged, this is in the playoffs, I'm sorry. In the playoffs, he averaged 11.7 points, 3.6 assists. In the playoffs in 16-17, he averaged 24.7 points and 7.7 assists in the playoffs. In 2018-19, he averaged 14 points, 3.4 assists. 19-20, he averaged 17 points, 3.6 assists. And in 2020, he averaged 14 points and 2.8 assists in the playoffs. That's 2020, 2021. So he has a lot of playoff experience, man. Yeah, I wouldn't be mad at him. The contract's got to be right, but I wouldn't be mad at the Knicks bringing in Dennis Schröder, even if it's as a stopgap. If that's what it came down to. And I don't even want to say it like if that's what it came down to. Dennis Schröder is a good basketball player, so I'm not saying like, we're taking the trash off the heap. You know what I mean?
He's our plan E. Let's just put it that way.
So we will.
And I would also add it's not easy to play with LeBron. So he had to play off ball because, LeBron, handles the ball a lot. He's not really a great shooter to be playing off of LeBron, right? So I'm not sure how much stock to put in what happened with the Lakers. And like we talked about before, just because he played that way with the Lakers doesn't mean he's going to play that way with the Knicks. I've seen him play much better in other stops in the NBA. So if it came to that, with this coaching staff, he may do all right.
Yeah.
I think he just wanted more money with the Lakers, and they weren't willing to pay him.
Right. Well, yeah.
Because he wants $100 million. He's already made that very clear.
Yeah, he does. He wants between 100 and 120 million or something like that. He's probably not going to get
the Lakers sure as hell weren't going to pay him that.
Yeah, he's probably not going to get that. He's going to get whatever he's worth. And, but when you're negotiating, that's what you put out there. This is what I want. And then people start saying, well, this is what we'll give you. And you start to meet somewhere in the middle. Frank Ntilikina. The New York Knicks, ladies and gentlemen, do not, and this is expected, they did not extend Frank Ntilikina a qualifying offer. All right, according to Ian Begley, and it was first reported by the New York Post, the New York Knicks have not extended Frank Ntilikina a qualifying offer ahead of today's deadline, which was actually yesterday's deadline at 5 o'clock. Ntilikina will be an unrestricted free agent. He has an $18 million cap hold, but the Knicks can still re-sign Frank Ntilikina. So if the Knicks did not, or if the Knicks did extend a qualifying offer, it would have been an $18 million cap hold, which would have made a significant hit to the Knicks cap space. So it was obvious that they were not going to extend a qualifying offer. But do you think, Steph, that's it for Frank?
I do think so. And I actually hope so. I think he should go somewhere where he's going to get, some playing time. I'm not sure what it is. Like I said before, he doesn't seem like he's a Tibbs guy. I thought that, when Tibbs was hired, that he would really get some playing time, and he just didn't. I'm not sure what it is. So I don't think he's returning, and hopefully he'll get a shot on another team and get some playing time.
Yeah, I agree with you. I can't see it with Deuce McBride and Quentin Grimes. I don't know where the room where there's going to be space for Frank Ntilikina. And then you still got Emmanuel quickly, and we're going to be bringing in other guards from free agency. I just don't see where there's any room for Frank Ntilikina on his team. Eddie C, you agree or disagree?
I was actually gonna say, I don't. I wouldn't put it past, him going to play overseas. Going to play with, not to say that he's not an NBA player, but he can probably make some good money overseas and develop his skills even more and play better, have better playing games over there. So, these guys playing Barcelona and Madrid and all these teams in Europe, he might go play in France again. So it's not like that's bad basketball. You're obviously not going to get the same amount of money that you would be getting in the States. But, I mean, come on, if the Knicks are not going to be able to, are not wanting to re-sign you, I'm not sure if they are. I'm not saying that they're not looking to re-sign him, because I really don't know. I have no answers for Frank. Frank, for me, is like, I got no answers for that guy no more. I don't know what to think of Frank Ntilikina. But if the Knicks aren't willing to pay Frank Ntilikina, who in the NBA is willing to give him a shot?
I mean,
I know we always
I don't think it always works that way though. Like, oh well, this team didn't want to pay him, so who is gonna pay him? I don't think it's gonna work that way. I think somebody will want to take a chance on Frank Ntilikina because he does have a discernible skill, which is playing defense, and he's shown this season that he can knock down a three. I think there will be a team that can look at him as a low cost D3 guy, and he's still 22 years old. So
I think I'm going to try to refrain from answering any Ntilikina questions because I have no answers for this guy. I don't think I can give right answers for this guy. I'm just like totally off base.
I hear you.
With what he can do, what he can't do. And I was a huge Frank Ntilikina fan and still am. I still like the kid. But he's just somebody that's just gone over and above what my pay grade is to think about a player like Frank Ntilikina. I just can't do it, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm a refrain.
Tony?
Quick question. The 18 million is like a base salary based off of his years in the league that qualified offer. That's not a number the Knicks came up with, right? That's the number because of where he was drafted.
Yeah. Right. That's a CBA number. Yeah.
All right. So I think he could be back. I wouldn't mind him being back. I think if it's about money, I think he will go overseas. I think he'll get the most money overseas. But if he wants to be a Knick, I can see him coming back, even if it's like the Theo Pinson role. You know what I mean? And one reason why I wouldn't mind seeing him on the floor or seeing him, on a team is because at the very least, in the Theo Pinson role, he would be more valuable. For the simple fact, this is a guy that you can throw all your guards at in practice, and he's going to make them get better.
That's true.
That's true. His defense in practice is going to make these other guards, these young guards, get better. And they have not necessarily watching over their shoulder, but they know this guy, he's already been in the league, he's already been in the organization. He can step in. If I'm not playing well, if I'm not showing my development, he still has the opportunity to see the floor. So as one of those end of the bench guys, I wouldn't mind it. And I think he could still be more than the end of the bench guy, to be honest. He's improved. Like, you can't take that away from him. Things that we were begging for him to do, he started doing, and he started doing better. That 3-point shot always looked well. We were throughout his 4 years. We've said the shot's not broken. You know what I mean? It was always confidence thing, like Clyde said. I think he's kind of past that point of confidence being broken or shaken. I think now, whether it's for us or on another team, or even if it's overseas, I think he's going to show a lot more growth as he continues to play.
Okay, we'll see. Not any thoughts.
Frank Ntilikina's time is done in New York. These guys just drafted a point guard. They got Grimes, they got McBride last year quickly. I think Frank Ntilikina's time is done in New York.
Yeah. I agree. I mean, I think it is done in New York. I do think he's going to be in the NBA. I just don't think he's going to be with the New York Knicks. He'll be someplace. Detroit liked him. I think Greg Popovich, there's always been rumors out there that Greg Popovich kind of likes Frank Ntilikina. So maybe you could see him in San Antonio. I think he'll still be in the league. At some point, he's going to have to prove himself if he wants to stay in the league. But I think he'll be in the league. Next thing I want to talk about is Carmelo Anthony, ladies and gentlemen. According to Jordan Schultz, he said, add the Knicks to the list of potential suitors for Carmelo Anthony. League sources say New York has made it clear that Melo was a target in free agency. Leon Rose has a long-standing relationship with the 10-time All-Star after their years together at CAA. Now, other teams interested in Melo, the Los Angeles Lakers, are very interested in the prospect of signing Carmelo Anthony. This is also according to Jordan Schultz. Melo has been linked to the Lakers as a possibility given his friendship with LeBron dating back to high school. Nate, I'll start with you. You want Melo back?
No, I don't.
You're a bum, Nate. You're a bum. You're a bum.
No, I'm not a fan of bringing back players we already had. I think they left for a reason or whatever happened with the trade.
You're a bum, Nate.
Sorry.
You're a bum.
I'm not jumping on the bandwagon of the Melo farewell tour. Go to LA.
I mean, you get players back every year. What are you talking about?
No, but I'm talking about bringing back the same player we had before. I'm just not a fan of it. I really don't. I don't know why the Knicks always do that crap. That's just my opinion.
The Knicks aren't the only team that do that. It's been plenty of players who've left the team and then gone back to that team.
Yeah, but I feel like we do that a lot.
Huh?
I feel like we do that a lot with some of these players.
Okay, we did it with Tim Hardaway Jr. Who else? Mark Jackson.
Oh, you go that far back, dang.
Alfred Payton.
Alfred Payton.
Well, he didn't leave and go to another team. He was a free agent.
Derrick Rose.
Derrick Rose.
We
did it with Derrick Rose. Was it successful with Derrick Rose? Did it work?
Yeah, that's what I said. Derrick Rose came back and he played great.
I don't know. I just don't see why you bring back Melo. I mean, let him win a chip somewhere else. You're not going to win a championship anytime soon. Go let him win a ring. That's just my opinion.
Man, look, you see that behind Tony? Bring Melo back to New York, man. Bring him back. I want Melo to be back with the Knicks. And I'm not saying I want him to be back in a starring role. We know he's not that kind of a star right now. Let him come off the bench, give us 13, 14 points a game, spread the floor. He shot 41% from three last season with the Portland Trail Blazers. Let him come back and do that.
But we have a void at the three position. And let's say we don't get somebody in free agency. You don't think he's going to want to start? You think he's going to be okay coming off the bench?
He's okay coming off the bench in Portland. Right? There weren't any
I'm
problems
just
with him
saying.
coming off the bench.
He's going to be like, who's my competition? Why am I going to come off the bench when there's no competition at that 3 position?
I mean, I
should be
think
starting.
I think
he's not a 3.
Yeah, he's a 4
and he
now.
knows that.
Yeah,
he can't defend that position. He hasn't played 3 in years.
I thought he played 3 for the Portland Trailblazers.
No, he played the
Covington
4.
played the 4.
He played the 4 position.
Oh, I thought
Covington came off the bench for Covington. Robert Covington was the starting 4. Melo came off the bench.
But he started with the Rockets. He played the 3 at the Rockets, didn't he?
He played. What did he play?
City.
10 games with the Rockets.
I think it was Oklahoma City where he did some of the 3.
Yeah, I think he played like 10 games with the Houston Rockets.
I'm just saying. I mean, Melo, who he is. I mean, yeah, I get he's come off the bench, but if he sees like but there's no competition for that 3 position. I mean, he might make an argument like, "Hey, man, you can slide me there."
Listen, let's put it like this.
It wasn't OKC because OKC had George at the 3.
Yep.
And if he's starting, it's because he's the best available.
That's what I'm trying to say. That's exactly my point.
So why is that an issue? If he's the best suited guy to start, and he wants to start because he's the best suited guy, what's the problem?
I don't want to bring that.
Listen, he's not a troublemaker. He's not somebody that's going to go and demand to start, or
no.
If they start a young 3 in front of him, he's not going to be like, well, why is this guy starting in front of me? I'm better than him. He's not that type of guy. I mean, I think if he wants to win a championship, that's on him to decline the Knicks and go to a championship.
He should want to win a championship.
Okay. But if he decides that he wants to come, that's his choice.
Right.
Right. And I think he can help us as a backup 4. He's still good. If you watch him, he still has the footwork. He could still get to his spots. He could still get his shots off.
So what does that mean for Obi if we have him as a backup 4?
Listen, you got to earn your time.
Obi can learn
exactly
how to get that footwork. Can you imagine him learning? You seen Randall's footwork improve off of like a couple of practice sessions with Melo? Like he wasn't doing those type of moves. That you know what I mean, those side steps and all that before he worked out with Melo. Right. So let Obi get a full season to learn under somebody. Now he got 2 guys to just 2 different spectrums of guys that he can learn from on the team.
Right.
And if Obi is better, Carmelo won't play. Carmelo will be situational.
That's it. And we talk about RJ needs to work on his mid-range game. Put him with Melo for 2 seasons. And let him and Melo, go to work. Let Melo help him out with that mid-range game a little bit. Teach him how to get that jab step. Yeah, like RJ's jab step is kind of funky looking. Let Melo teach him how to get that jab step in, jab step back. Throw that pump fake under the basket. You know what I mean? I think he'd be perfect for RJ to help RJ develop his offensive game. Yeah, I mean, I'm all for bringing Melo back on the right contract. I think he'll come back and understand and know his place within the team. You know what I'm saying? I don't think
I would be shocked if he turns down LeBron if he asks him to come play, because they are such good friends and they have played since at the high school. I'd just be shocked if he says, "I'm not going to go play with you. I'm going to go."
But you know what? They such good friends. But when LeBron had the opportunity to go to bat for Melo, for him to be in LA after nobody was trying to sign him, he was mum.
Exactly.
No,
LeBron was actually talking about
he wasn't
Melo.
mum.
He was
you know what he said? He said, "I don't make those decisions."
Right.
Like which is worse than not saying anything.
Yeah.
Right.
Because you know what I mean, the media was specifically asking you, like, yo,
right,
you don't want your guy?
Right. And then
maybe he didn't want to tamper.
And then they went and signed Chris Dudley. Is it
Dudley?
Yeah.
So I think that gives us an advantage. And I mean, Melo could already, deal with the media and all that, but I could already hear the narrative if he did come back about.
Can't believe we're talking about this.
And not caring about.
It's in the news.
And this, that,
I know.
No. I mean, if he comes back, the same way they was on his butt for saying or on his butt saying he didn't care about a ring and he didn't care about winning. If he did, he would have went here, he would have went there. That narrative will come back.
You think so? You think it will?
I think it wrongfully so, but I think it will.
Let me ask you this question.
Hold on, Nate. Or at this point, do you think the narrative might be, well, at least Melo's not ring chasing? It could be that. I guess it would depend on this. It would depend on, let's say, the Lakers could only offer him the veterans minimum, but the Knicks could offer him $10 million a year.
Yeah.
Right? And he said, well, I'm going to take the $10 million. Then people are going to be like, oh, he just took the money.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? He just took the money. Then that narrative will be out there. Now, if they're both offering him something similar and he chose the Knicks, then the narrative would probably be, well, he's not ring chasing. I've never seen Melo trying to be a ring chaser anyway, because he had ample opportunities, I think, and he decided on Portland. And I don't know if he thought that, I'm sure he thought that they were going to be at least a contender. I don't know if he thought, oh, I have a guaranteed ring with Portland. He probably thought, hey, we got a chance. I don't want to see him in Brooklyn. I'm gonna be mad if he goes to Brooklyn.
I don't know why I just thought about that when we were talking. I'm like, imagine him going to Brooklyn. Dang. He would have to take like a minimum contract, right? Like,
yeah,
honestly,
take the best minimum.
I see Brooklyn before LA. And
then he can probably,
if he did go to Brooklyn over us, I think that narrative would be the ring chasing narrative. It wouldn't be anything else.
I mean, who cares? At this point of his career, he can chase a ring if he wants to. I mean, he hasn't won one. I mean, I don't think people should think less of him if he does. I mean, his career's coming to an end.
No, I'm not saying.
I don't. Do what you got to do.
I don't think people think less of him, but we'll see.
I'm saying I don't think people should think less of him if he did go chase a ring.
But it's not really about him per se. It's really about the Nets, because look what happened this year with them bringing Harden, then bringing in Aldridge, then bringing in Blake. You know what I mean? Like it's the narrative of like, yo, like I just gonna grab him, you know what I mean? Everybody, and it's unfair advantages the way they do it. Getting off the buyout market, off the waiver wire, and things of that nature, where theoretically these guys are worth more money than they're getting, and they're going to play with other superstars.
I'm gonna play devil's advocate for a sec. How does he fit with Tibbs? What Tibbs wants to do on the defensive side? That's never been Melo's strong point.
At the 4, he'll be fine.
Yeah, he gives effort.
Hence why he's been at the 4 since Mike Woodson.
Mm-hmm.
We play system defense anyway, so he just has to play within the system, and everything will be fine.
Yeah, like when you watch him play, it's not like he doesn't give effort on that end. It's not like he just allows guys to go past him. He gives effort. He just doesn't have the lateral quickness.
Yeah, and Tibbs will, I think, like any coach, if he doesn't feel like Melo was giving him what he needs on the defensive end, then he's going to take him out the game.
Yeah, exactly.
Take him out the game. And Tibbs is the kind of guy, I don't think Melo's going to, Melo ain't going to trip, in my opinion. He ain't going to trip. I would love for the Knicks to bring Melo back. We obviously know that the Knicks are interested in bringing Melo back. We'll see if it happens. We'll see if it happens. And if he does come back, this might be, say he comes back, he signs for 2 years, could be Melo's farewell tour. You know what I mean? Could be. Let me get to a phone call here. Caller, you live. What's popping with you?
Hey, Sim. How you doing?
JP, how you feeling? It's been a while.
How you feeling? I'm sorry about that. I've been kind of busy, so I'm hoping and praying that, like, when the fall comes, everything come back to normal and I'll be able to call more and, at least show up to your events and stuff. So I apologize. I know you've been trying to reach out to me and stuff.
Nah, take care of your business. I'm just glad to hear you sound good. You sound healthy, safe.
I'm doing well, man. Everything's good. Can't complain. Good. And even if things was bad, I'm not the type of person to complain anyway.
All right.
I want to say, I want to shout out to the chat. I hope everyone's doing well. So I know we've discussed several topics here this evening. Well, actually this morning. And
right.
I just would like to say that, what we did this past season, it was great. And the fact that it was unexpected made it even better. But I still want to just caution to the chat that we need to be a bit, we need to temper expectation and realize that, we're not there yet as far as, free agents wanting to come here. I think we need another maybe year or two. Okay. So with that being said, as far as I know, a lot of people may be disappointed that we don't get the Lonzos and the Lowrys of the world. And if that's the case, then that's okay. The key thing is, due to the fact that it is a salary cap sport, you don't want to lock into B-level, C-level players because then if you do that, we're going to be stuck with, we're going to be the Atlantas of, back in the early 2000s where they're good but not good enough to make a difference. So as far as the point guard position is concerned, I think that we're going to have a point guard by committee until we find that bona fide point guard. I don't know who that person is. So until then, I'm not really looking to spend a lot of money. There's certain players that I don't want the Knicks to sign. Like I'm not looking at the DeRozans. I'm not the whole Dennis Schröder thing. I had, wishy-washy on him, but listening to the chat and listening to Steph as always with her great points. Talking, playing next to LeBron is difficult. So, I wouldn't mind if you, let's say, I think I read an article earlier with the Caruso, thing. I wouldn't mind signing him, adding him with Deuce McBride and all the other guards we have and run it that way. He's tough. You could tell he's a winner. He has a chip and, that stuff matters. I know that I like Dennis Schröder, but I didn't like how he played for the Lakers last year, but I didn't take into consideration the LeBron factor. So I'm fine with signing him, but it depends on how much he's going to get paid, and that's the key with all these players. Like, I'm not a fan of Fournier, but, he will definitely be an upgrade over Burke. I mean, not Burke, but Bullock. I'm not a big Bullock fan. And I think you need to get Bullock off this team to save Thibodeau from himself. And I think we talked about Frank. No one, listen, I love Frank more than anyone. We all know that, the Knicks in the beginning didn't do right by him. But at the same time, when he did get his opportunity, he was always injured. So, we really don't know what he is. And, unfortunately, we went through the ups and downs with him. I would like to see him back, but at the same time, I would kind of want to see him somewhere else to see how another team utilizes him. And I'm just hoping and praying that, and he is a winning player. You'll put him on a team and you'll say, this is what your role is, and he'll do it, and he'll probably end up winning a chip. And, 10 years from now, when you interview him, he'll tell you the best thing that ever happened to him was leaving the Knicks, like, the list of players like Trevor Ariza and all these other players that we draft, and they say the same thing. As far as Melo's concerned, if you asked me a couple of years ago, I would have been dead set on a no. But, watching Melo, he played phenomenal coming off the bench. I think his mindset is a bit different. I will say that whatever happens in his career, I do believe that he will end it here. Mm-hmm. I prefer that he plays for the Lakers because he's never played in the finals. And I think if if given the opportunity, I would love to see him do that. But I agree with you in that he's not. I don't think he's a ring chaser because he's had opportunities to play on winning teams before, and he's always chose otherwise. What I will say, though, is take this into consideration. Now, his son is entering high school this year, and he chose to play for Christ the King. Now, if you know anything about the tri-state area, I'm quite sure you do, you know, that program is one of the best as far as high school players. You know, Sue Bird, you know, Lamar Odom, Shamika Holzclaw, and stuff like that. So if it's important to him to watch his son play, you know, high school basketball in Queens, that may be a deciding factor. Now, considering that he's been, you know, playing, you know, outside of the New York market for the past couple of years, that may not be that may not be a factor, but it could potentially be. I'll be surprised if I want him to go to the Lakers if that's an opportunity, but I wouldn't be surprised if he chose the Knicks. And, you know, I don't know what role he'll play, but I know that it's something that we could use. I do think that the Knicks will be a better team as far as, you know, the talent will be better, but I don't think our record will be better. I think last season, although I enjoyed it, you know, I don't want fans to get, you know, twisted. It was kind of like a fool's gold kind of thing, and I think the Knicks need to prove to free agents out there that last year was not a fluke and build off of last year.
Right.
I do think that they will make the playoffs, but they will not get that 4 seed. You look at teams like Miami, you look at teams like Chicago, and all the teams that usually perform well, they didn't perform well. They will be better this year. Charlotte will be better and stuff like that. And for all those, Lonzo, I think the thing that annoys me a lot too, with just Knicks fans on a whole, is that they ask for players that you know that you're not going to get. I don't know what the situation was with Lonzo, whether he wanted the Knicks and the Knicks didn't want him, or vice versa. But if I had the opportunity between the Knicks and Chicago, if I'm Lonzo, I'm going to Chicago. I mean, the Knicks, they play well, they play hard, and they're scrappy, but they're lacking the talent. And I don't think they have the talent that will warrant a big free agent to come here. I don't know if someone, you know, these players are killing themselves to play with a Randall, but I would damn sure rather play with a Zion or Ingram or a Levine and a Vucevic. You know what I mean? But yeah, I mean, I think, you know, I'm going to be satisfied with whatever they do, because it seems like this front office is very calculated. I'm kind of hoping and praying that they pull something out of their hat and do something that's not expected. But yeah, I kind of like, you know, what they're doing. I have nothing to complain about. As long as they don't pull like another Tim Hardaway Jr. type thing, I'm going to be fine with it.
Okay. Well, we'll see. We'll see what they do. It's going to be interesting. It's definitely going to be interesting. And you know, tomorrow, you know, it's going to jump off tomorrow.
But as always, you know, the franchise is split. You have some of the fan base that wants to continue to build, and you have some that want to sign every single, you know, quote unquote star, or, you know, like the Lonzo of the world. It doesn't work like that. It's a salary cap sport. And they're at a point where they're at a crucial point, because are you going to pay Randall? What are you going to do with Mitch? You know, before you know it, RJ's, you know, you're going to have to pay him soon. So now it's okay to pay the Burks of the world, but at some point they have to make some key decisions when it comes to this money.
Yeah.
I mean, as much as I'm not going to be a hypocrite here, I was one of the get rid of Randall last year kind of thing, and I respect the guy for what he does, work ethic. I think whatever his potential is, he will reach it, because it's his work ethic. He's hard work, and he fits this market. But at the same time, I don't know. He has to show me. I know there will be a drop off, because it's just natural, but it can't be too much of a drop off, because if we're paying that guy that's going to be our guy, and he's going to be sucking up the bulk of the money. So I'm paying very close attention to what's happening this year, and I'm just glad that we have a front office that thinks about money and they're thinking about steps ahead. I know a lot of people didn't like the draft, but I loved it.
Yeah.
Because I think we got what we needed, and that guy that they drafted, Roku Yokobitis, he's trust me, he's a good player, and he's going to be in Barcelona, and they have be around a good staff. They have top of line facilities over there. He is one of those guys that you want on your team to draft and stash. I actually had my mind on him, but I didn't think that the Knicks would have thought outside the box to do something like that.
Right.
That's a kind of OKC kind of move.
Yeah.
The Knicks have been making OKC kind of moves, but we as Knicks fans, we're so used to them making the stupid moves. We're not used to them thinking outside the box.
Yeah.
So we kind of have to adjust our mindset to that.
Yeah.
But, I want to thank you very much for your call. Keep doing what you do, and shout out to Steph. She's the reason why I don't call as much anymore, because I love her takes.
Yeah.
And hopefully I'll be able to see you guys soon. Stay safe and stay healthy, and go Knicks.
All right. Appreciate you, JP. Have a good one. I'm not sure about the Bulls. I mean, I guess if he chooses the Bulls over the Knicks, I guess he figures that he fits in there a little bit better. Julius Randle was his guy. They were
He's got
friends.
2 All-Stars on that team.
Okay, about that.
That didn't make the playoffs.
That didn't make the playoffs.
I think he's running from pressure. I think that's what that's about.
But I also think
but they
Knicks
got
may
him
not
later.
be interested.
Yeah.
It could be the other way around too. I think they may have gotten word that the Knicks are no longer interested.
That's true.
And so he's moving in another direction. A lot has happened on the back end.
Yeah. Right.
Why they wouldn't be, but that could be.
I mean, who knows? I don't know. Maybe they figured that they wanted to go in another direction. I don't know.
I mean, it might have been the money
Who
thing.
knows?
I mean, and the contract extension. I mean, how many years he wants.
Yeah, somewhere along the line, I think that they still believe that Damian Lillard is going to become available. Now, Stephen A. Smith, he put out his report that if the Portland Trail Blazers decide to trade Damian Lillard, that the Knicks are going to be his first option. We hear that a lot. I, though, do believe that Leon Rose and those guys think that Damian Lillard at some point is going to become available, via trade. And I think they're going to be conscious of that. And look, I'm pretty sure they have a lot of, backroom information that clearly we don't have. You know what I mean? Leon Rose is connected throughout the league. He's he's worked with every single team in the league. So I'm sure he has some very good intel. Worldwide West as well. So maybe they're like, you know what? We're not going to kill ourselves with a long-term contract when we think Damian Lillard is going to be available. And a lot of reports out there say that the Knicks still believe that Damian Lillard at some point is going to become available via trade. I hope it happens tomorrow. I hope he becomes available tomorrow. You know what I mean?
I think we're going to get some of that news when the Olympics is over. Like when he comes back to the States and he's able to sit across the room from those guys in the Portland organization, we might get an inkling of what he wants to do. But the writing on the wall is looking like, he wants to try something new. He wants to go to a different place. So I say that because, maybe the New York Knicks didn't want to give Derrick Rose a 2-year deal, a 2 or 3 year deal that he's looking for. Maybe that's why you hear the reports about the Chicago Bulls, him wanting to go to the Chicago Bulls. They want to keep that flexibility, and we might be seeing again, like last year, To take one of the words from one of my favorite podcasters, state, the 1 year Mercs. You know what I'm saying? We might be looking at the signings of the 1 year Mercs and just put these pieces in place here and there just to fill the season again and see what happens at the beginning of the season, see what happens halfway through the season at the trade deadline and going into next year, just to keep us with the flexibility that we have. I was looking for a piece of paper because I had made a list, I would say like 5 months ago, of players that the New York Knicks might be wanting to sign. And I had put it out there. Obviously it wasn't well taken by a lot of fans, but you know, I had a tier. I had 1, 2, and a 3 tier. And in my first tier was Spencer Dinwiddie and Norman Powell. Right? Even back then, before I knew Chris Paul was going to do this and Kyle Lowry was going to do that. And those guys are still out there and available. But then I had a second tier. I had a second tier of players like PJ Tucker and Nicholas Batum. And those are the 1 year Mercs that you might. Well, PJ Tucker now looks like he's upped his value, where he might be able to get a bigger deal. He won a championship, played well. But Nicholas Batum, there's somebody that you can probably give 10 mil, you know, give him a 1 year, a good sizable 1 year contract, and then slide him in as your 3 for the year, and not give somebody a 3 or 4 year deal. So I think that's what we're looking at. We're looking at another year of the 1 year Mercs, just to keep the flexibility. So if we're able to make a trade for a big name superstar, somebody like a Dame Lillard, we still have cap room and maneuverability to get another star to come with him.
Right.
And pair those up.
And I agree. I think that, you know, there'll be a couple of players that they will consider giving a longer deal to, if that player is, you know, willing to listen and wants to be part of the Knicks organization. You know, and as far as Derrick Rose, there is a report out there that says the Knicks, or some within the Knicks organization, wanted Rose to go out, get some contract offers, and then come back. And the Knicks look and see, you know, is this what we want to, you know, are we willing to pay Derrick Rose that amount, whatever that amount is? Now, the only other team that I was ever afraid that Derrick Rose was going to go to was the Chicago Bulls, obviously, because it's his hometown. In my opinion, it's only between the New York Knicks and the Chicago Bulls. I don't see any other team that Derrick Rose is going to go to. Like I said before, he doesn't want to be outside of that Midwest. You know, maybe if Indiana was interested, he'd go to Indiana, right? Because that's a few hours from Chicago. You know, Derrick Rose likes to be in a comfortable situation. So I could see, you know, Chicago, if Indiana was interested, which I don't think they are at this point. Indiana, New York. So we'll see. I really do want Derrick Rose back, but I think Chicago is a big threat.
Chicago can't have both. I don't think they're going to sign both. So if they sign Ball, then we know Derrick Rose is more likely.
No, I think that reports have already come out that they're willing to sign both players, because Derrick Rose can come off the bench while Lonzo Ball is the starter. Just like if we were going to sign Lonzo Ball, most people, oh my gosh, imagine having Lonzo Ball and then having Derrick Rose come off the bench. I think that's what most people were thinking. I think that's what the Bulls would be thinking too.
Yeah, I just figured they put their money somewhere else, but I mean, that's maybe their plan.
Nah, that's their hometown guy, man. Right.
Oh, but it's gonna put butts in the seat too.
Yeah.
Like regardless of winning or anything else.
Well, Ball's gonna put butts in the seats, man. He's
Chicago's coming out to feed Derrick Rose, whether they're winning or not. That's what I'm saying. He has a real fan base. We had people call up on the chat like, "Yo, I'm not a Knicks fan, but I'm a Derrick Rose fan. I'm from Chicago." It was like 2 or 3 people that said that this season.
Yeah. Hey, Tony, can I stop you for 1 second? I just want to stop you for 1 second. You guys probably can't see this in the chat. I'm about to remove this guy from the chat, though, right? Because he says, the Knicks should trade for Malcolm Brogdon. Put me on the effing panel because these idiots don't have horrible takes. You know what, Justin? Go get your own show. Then you can have all the takes that you want to have. Go get your own show. Man. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this guy out of here. If you can't respect, you don't have to like what people are saying, but don't disrespect anyone by calling them idiots and all that kind of garbage. You know what I'm saying? That's ridiculous.
He's an idiot. He's under contract, man. We'd have to trade for him.
Let me read a couple of super chats here. Paris Duggar, thank you for the super chat. He said, campaign McBride and Rose, if not Sexton. I'm not sure what to think about Cameron Payne. He had, he played well for Phoenix. He's been, he came in regarded high, didn't play as well, went overseas, successful campaign with the Phoenix Suns. I don't know. Do you think Cameron Payne is ready to be a starter? I'll come back with that question. I want to get one more super chat. Then Rafael Valdez, he said, the Knicks need to pay close attention to the Golden State Warriors situation. No trade. He said, there's no trade coming. The owner said you might hit a home run and get the Golden State trio next year. Blockbuster. I'm not exactly sure what all of that is. Rafael, you might want to call into something and kind of break down to me what you're saying. Because I didn't get all of that with that there. But Cameron Payne. Tony, I'll start with you, and then I'll get the knot. What's your thought on Cameron Payne? And then after I get the knot, I'm gonna come to the phone call. Go ahead, Tony.
I'm not really sure. I like his game. I like his improvement. I think he definitely has heart and that dog. He's young, but I mean,
Hey Tony, you kind of breaking up, Tony. I don't know if you're far away from the mic or something, but it's breaking up. Go ahead, speak again.
Yeah, any better?
Sounds like you're far away from the mic or something.
All right, let me readjust.
All right. Steph, any thoughts on Cameron Payne?
Yeah, he very well may be ready, but I just don't think the Knicks can take that chance. I think the Knicks have to go with somebody that has the experience being a lead guard.
Yeah, that right. I agree with you. 100%. He really hasn't had that kind of experience being a lead guard. I don't know if there's anything much more to say than that. Eddie?
Yeah, she hit it right. She hit the nail on the head, man. Like, all the words that she said to a T. He very might be ready. Maybe might well be ready, but we just can't take a chance on that right now, especially giving somebody like that a multiple year deal just to see if he's that player that we're looking for.
Right.
So,
right.
Yeah,
right.
Steph is right. 100%.
Right. Not. What do you think?
Nah, I'm not big on Cameron, man. There's a point guard that I really think step in and help us out right away, and that's Reggie Jackson. I'm big on what he did for the Clippers in the playoff run. I think he could come in and be that starting point guard we're looking at. You know what I mean? That could put our young boys in place and take us to the next level. I think he's very defensive minded. And I think his boy from Detroit, Drummond, could come along with him and help us out in the center position. So, those are the two free agents that I think that are dogs, that are tips type guys that could come to my New York squad and step in and help the dynamic duo that we got. All we need is players to come in and help R.J. Barrett and Julius Randle. You know what I mean? So I'm really high on Reggie Jackson. And if not Jackson, a Schröder, then a Schröder. But I was dying to get him before when we were talking about Schröder, because boy, Reggie Jackson showed me something, man. Going up against Phoenix, putting up 20. knocking down threes, keeping the Clippers in that series, man.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Listen, I've never been a huge fan of Reggie Jackson, but he did show me something. I think he's going to stay in L.A. Him and Paul George, they homeboys. You know what I mean? So I think he's going to stay in L.A. But he did show me something. I don't know. I don't know. I'm still kind of up in the air on him, but I think he's a guy the Knicks might look at. They might look at a Reggie Jackson. You know what I mean?
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, that's better.
All right. So, I would prefer Schröder over Payne for sure. If I'm signing Payne, it's not gonna be high money. It may be 3-4 years, but it's not gonna be high money. Reggie Jackson though, if he's gonna field offers, I think we could get him. Because we could pay him for 1 year more than he's going to get for 3 years or 2 years somewhere else, and I think that fits that mold of stopgap. You know what I mean? For 1 year, we could give him a nice contract for 1 year that he's not going to get anywhere else, and I wouldn't mind doing that, and then maintaining that cap flexibility going forward. Also, him being able to be put into a trade somewhere down the line for Dame Lillard, you know what I mean, where it's eating up a bunch of that contract.
Right.
They'll be willing to do that because it's coming right off the book. And so yeah, I think Reggie is a good name.
How much do you think he would demand on the market? He averaged last season for the Clippers. He averaged 17.8 points per game. He averaged 3.4 assists. He shot 40% from the three-point line. He shot 48% from the field.
I'm gonna say this: we're the only team out there that has the money to pay him what he's worth.
Actually, hold on. I'm sorry. Let me back that up. That was the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
In the regular season, he averaged 10 points per game. He averaged 3.1 assists. He shot 43% from the three-point line. He shot 45% from the field. And then in the playoffs, he averaged 17.8 points per game, 3.4 assists, 41% from the three-point line, 48% from the field. But of course, you remember, a lot of the playoffs, Kawhi was out, so we had to step up his scoring. You know what I mean? And the amount of attempts that he had went up. He averaged 13.3 attempts in the playoffs, shot attempts, versus 8.7 during the regular season, mainly because Kawhi went out in the playoffs.
I think they needed him to do that, whether Kawhi was there or not. I think he kind of paced himself throughout the regular season. But I think we're the only team. I think he could put up those playoff numbers in the regular season for us. And I think we're the only team that can pay him his true value.
I'm not gonna front, guys. I'm sorry to cut you off, Tony, but I've seen his name, we've seen his name, but when not mentioned him, and I guess it was the way that he mentioned him, my ears kind of perked up because, after we see everybody gone, Reggie Jackson, seeing what he did in the playoffs, kind of fits the profile of the type of point guard that we're looking for. A guard who can score. He didn't look bad on defense. He looked like he was trying really hard. So, you kind of won me over on that. Not like maybe Reggie Jackson might be the guy. And just like Tony Crow say, we might be able to give him a big balloon 1 year deal where it'll be worth more than a 2 year or a 3 year deal that he might get for somebody else. I'm talking about 1 year for 20, 1 year for 18, something like that, where he might be looking at 2 years for 20 or 2 years for 22, and you can give him a 1 year deal and probably get that guy and put him in your starting lineup. Maybe even give him a 2 year deal. I don't know. I wouldn't go past giving him a 2 year deal. It was just something like, the way Not said it. it kind of got to me, man. And I'm like, yo, man, maybe this guy might be the guy to fill that hole.
He won't leave the Clippers, man. The Clippers are going to do everything because they, like you said, if Kawhi goes down, they need that insurance for another scorer, and third scorers are hard to find. He's going to re-sign with the Clippers. The Clippers are going to make his number one priority outside of Kawhi.
Yeah, man, Nate. But money talks, man. If they don't have enough money, and we're willing to offer him more money,
well, they can go over the
Clippers
cap
are willing to offer him. Are they going to want to go over the cap and pay luxury tax to sign
Ballmer's
Reggie Jackson?
rich, man. Who knows?
I mean,
they'll be willing to pay that kind of money.
And I will say this: the Clippers have to prioritize Kawhi before anything.
Yeah.
So we could potentially snatch him up early, and then make a move for Kawhi.
And then make a. Listen, let's talk about Kawhi because Kawhi.
Okay.
No, go ahead,
Exactly
Steph.
what I was going to talk about, Kawhi. So go ahead.
Okay, Kawhi is going to enter free agency, right? And then the reports are saying that he's going to talk to other teams. Obviously, he's going to talk to other teams. When a player opts out of his contract, looking to get more money, because Kawhi Leonard, when you look at some of these other players in the league and how much money they're making, players of his caliber, he's going to be making $36 million next year. That's what his contract was called for. He made 35 last season. I'm sorry, he made 34.3 last season. He was going to make 36 next season if he picked up his player option. Now, when you look at Paul George would have made 39 next season, 42 in 2022, 2023, 45 in 23, 24, and then 48, a player option of 48 in 24, 25. So I'm sure Kawhi is looking at that and saying, wait a minute, I should be making more money. So he's opting out of his contract, and he probably wants to sign a 4-year deal, maybe worth $170, $180 million or something like that, right? Probably at least $40 million a year in that four-year deal. That's what I'm thinking, somewhere in that range. So in order to put a little bit of pressure on the Los Angeles Clippers to make sure that they max him out, you got to go ahead and talk to other teams, right? You got to talk to other teams. Steph, I'll let you jump in here. Do the Knicks have a chance of going and talking to Kawhi?
I don't think so. And even if they do, I just wouldn't sign Kawhi. I mean, I love his game. He shows up, at the end of games. He's been known to take the big shots, but he's coming off an injury, and he's just one of them guys that I think because he hasn't had a lot of success with the team's medical staff, that he's very suspicious of them. And I don't think there's a lot of trust there. And I think anytime he's not feeling right, it doesn't matter what the medical staff say. If he's not feeling right, he's not playing. So already he's coming off an injury. He's going to miss games. And then whenever he feels like he's going to do his own load management, doesn't matter what the team says. So I just see him missing a lot of games. And this has nothing to do with his competitiveness. I think when he does play, he gives it everything he has. I just think he's going to miss a lot of games due to injury and load management. And I just think I want to say better spend that money somewhere else. I just don't know where.
Right. right. So looking at a report right now says that Leonard can receive a 4-year, $176.2 million contract from the Clippers. That's a max contract. The most he can receive from any other team is 4 years, $169 million. So, that's not that big of a difference.
That's not a bad contract.
It's not that big of a difference. It ends up being about, if you do 4 years, $169 million, obviously the contracts are normally broken up a little bit differently. But if you just average that out evenly, that's $42.3 million a season. You know, so it might be 40 million the first season, 43 the second season, 45 the third season, 48, whatever, you know, however it's broken out.
It just sucks because you're paying 1 year
I
for
also
nothing,
heard that.
you know?
Yeah.
I also heard something like if he signs a 1 year deal and then he declines the second year of the 1 he's eligible for like a 5-year, $225 million deal.
Yeah, I mean.
So this guy is like major. If he can get that, it's gonna be major paid. And how old is Kawhi? 28, 29?
I think 29.
I think 29, something like that.
Right? He's right on the cusp of like.
No, I think he'll come back at 29. I think he'll be 29.
Okay. He's actually 30. I'm looking at it right
30?
now. He's 30. He turned 30 on June 29th.
He's 30.
Yeah.
So he just turned 30.
Right. So he'll come back at 31. Yeah, I don't know. It's going to be interesting. It's so crazy because we don't know what the Knicks are going to do. Nobody really has a clue where the Knicks are going to go and what they're going to do. I'm going to start with you, Nate. Who do you think is going to be the first person that the Knicks... Actually, let me get to the phone call. Then I'll come to you. Caller, you live. What's popping?
Hey, what's up, son?
Kareem, what's going on with you, brother? How you feeling, man?
Yeah, I was like, dang, I forgot about me.
I almost forgot, Kareem. I almost forgot. I looked up, I said, oh, snap, I got Kareem on the line. Let me get to him.
Yeah, man. I first want to start by saying this, and I already hit up Isaiah, man, after I got off that emotional rant that I did at the draft party.
Uh-huh.
You know, but I was looking at what we got. I'm like, man, we ain't do bad at all, you know. So but you know, I have to admit, it was so much going on in that draft. I really didn't know. It was like it was a scramble, so I didn't really know what was going on. But like, you know, in hindsight, looking at it now, I'm like, okay, we did well.
Yeah, it was crazy because, you know, it was like everybody was hype. Who are they gonna get? There's guys on the board, and then they traded it, and then they traded again. And you're like, yo, what's going on? And then the 32nd pick, they traded again. It did send you for a loop. So you had to kind of step back and then look at it, and you actually see, okay, they did some smart things.
Yeah, definitely. I agree, man. Man, I admit too, man, I'm really uncertain of what we're gonna, you know, do as well this week. You know, it's really gonna be. I'm excited. You know, I actually like being, you know, a mystery and stuff like that. But I remember hearing what the last caller said. Shout out to her. I haven't heard from her in a while. You know, she used to call a lot. You know, like a couple years ago. But I do believe, like I said, man, when we talked about we won't have the 4th seed, I kind of disagree. Let's be real. We didn't believe we would do what we did last year. But I will say that if, you know, we do need to add something to this team, because if we do play the same way in which we did last year, it's going to be super predictable.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, we definitely do need to add our biggest need, you know, some wings in that 3 spot, and we need playmakers. Because if we get playmakers, that will also, you know, increase our shot attempts. You know, we need some fluidity in the offense.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. We need some fluidity. I mean, but we also need players. You know, a lot of people, you know, got on Tibbs about, you know, having such a predictable offense, but you also need players to add that, I don't want to say unpredictability, but to add more variation into your offense. You need players who can actually execute those things.
Yeah, I agree with that.
You know, and so I think that's what the Knicks are looking here in free agency to say, let's get these players that can actually execute at a high level on the floor, and also a point guard, so that Tom Thibodeau doesn't have to run up and down the sideline yelling out plays.
Run.
You know what I'm saying? Like, we don't need, right? We don't want Tom Thibodeau to have to call out plays. You want your point guard to be the guy who's running the show on the floor. Let Tom Thibodeau worry about adjustments. But let that point guard be the guy who's running the floor.
He was yelling at. Yeah, you're right. When you go look back at the footage, man, it was bad, bro.
Yeah, he's yelling out this, he's yelling out that, he's screaming Obi, he's screaming RJ.
Yeah,
I mean, it's like he's coaching a high school team sometimes when you hear him yelling out people's names like that. You know what I mean? And really, he should be able to sit back. He's not going to relax, so I don't want to say relax, but sit back and look at the game maybe a little bit differently instead of having to be the one who's looking at the game to say what play should I call or what set should I call. The point guard is looking at that, and he's looking at what adjustments can I make.
Right.
Yeah,
I
agree with that, man. But I ain't gonna lie, I don't know who it was that brought up that Reggie Jackson. So now I would love Reggie Jackson, man. I think he would help us out a lot. Because I'm gonna be honest with you, Sam, man. I'm pretty sure you agree with this. We need a starting point guard. We need somebody that's gonna, run the offense, and we definitely need that, man. I don't want the ball if the ball is in Randall's hands as much as it was last season, and I'm pretty sure teams went back and looked at that Atlanta series and see how they loaded up on him. Randall's going to struggle. So, we definitely need that should be our number one priority, getting a point guard that can run the offense.
Yeah, it's got to be. It's got to be. I just don't think it's going to be the point guards that, people were having in mind, including myself, like Kyle Lowry, is now looking like Miami's going to be the top suitor. Chris Paul, I think, is going to stay put. I think the Knicks would have had a better chance of getting Chris Paul if they had won the championship. They lost. I think they're going to run it back. I think they're going to run it back. So I think he's.
They better run it back. That's what I was saying. Like, why would you leave that?
Right. You know what I mean? So.
Yeah. And real quick, Sam, man, I think that this dude, Quentin Grimes, man, is going to be like, based off of like the way he plays, man, and his game is perfect for the modern NBA. And I got to see his defense too, because they didn't show that in the draft videos. And I'm like, man, this dude can play the passing lanes. He can stay in front of fast players. Like, his on-ball defense is solid. I think he's going to be top 3 Rookie of the Year candidate, man. I really do.
Okay.
The kid, he dripping with tools. Like, create his own shot to pop it in the defender's face. He has a very complete game.
Yeah. All right.
Very complete game.
Speaking of Quentin Grimes, Grime Time, that's what I'm calling him. I'm calling him Grime Time. Grime Time. Speaking of Grime Time, me and Andy going to do a Coach's Corner on Tuesday, breaking down his game from his time at Kansas to the NBA Combine, and then kind of take a look at what we think he might be able to offer to the New York Knicks. So that's going to be, I think Tuesday we're going to do Quentin Grimes and Miles McBride, and then Wednesday we're going to do Rokas and Jericho. So, yeah.
I like that Jericho kid too, man. Cool.
Yeah. Hey, Kareem, I appreciate you, man. Appreciate your time.
I appreciate
let me ask you quickly.
Real quick, man. My bad, go ahead.
Before I let you go, who do you think the Knicks are? Who is the first person the Knicks are reaching out to tomorrow?
As far as like free agent?
Yep.
I don't know in particular, but I know it's going to be a point guard. They're going to reach out to some point guard.
Yeah. That's without a doubt. I mean, that's without a doubt. It's definitely going to be a point guard. And they might have already reached out to those point guards.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? They might have already reached out to them.
Real quick, Sim, don't be surprised, man, if we might mess around and get this dude Goran Dragic too.
Mm-hmm.
He might be, but he might be on his way to Toronto though, because what's happening? What's happening is they actually picked up his contract, picked up his team option, and then they're looking to do a sign and trade with Toronto to send him to Toronto and Kyle Lowry to Miami. You know, and that's how they're making that work.
Looking to make Miami, they are the masters of the sign and trade. They will have no money and get everybody in the league. It's hilarious.
I know. I know.
I'm telling you.
That's Pat Riley, man. That's Pat Riley. That's Pat Riley.
He's the original give you an offer you can't refuse.
Trade, man.
Yeah, man. Pat Riley does his thing out there. Hey, Kareem, I appreciate the time, man.
I appreciate you having me.
All right, peace. Yeah, that's going to be interesting. Let me get to one more phone call, and then I'll let everybody go ahead and see who you think is going to be the first person the Knicks reach out to. Then I'm gonna head off after that. Call you live. What's poppin'? Tell me your name. Where you from?
Hey, what's up, Sim? My name is Big Reaper, calling from Jersey.
Hey, what's going on with you, man? How you feeling?
I'm doing all right. Definitely watched the draft. It was pretty crazy. I pretty much concur with a lot of what you guys are saying about the draft. I like all the moves that they made. I also agree with the last caller that pick, them picking up Grimes.
Mm-hmm.
I really think Grimes is it definitely fits Tibbs, Tibbs system. And the other thing, I don't know if you guys covered this, but he definitely showed out in in the workouts, in pre-draft workouts, and then also, I guess, led them in scoring in the games that he played in, which is really good. The other thing, when you kind of really see a lot more of his game, a lot of people didn't really think he goes very well off the dribble. They see him as just a 3-and-D kind of guy, but he's pretty good in the pick and roll.
Mm-hmm.
And he actually he does a pretty decent job shooting off the dribble, off the bounce, especially from deep, which is really good. Then the other thing, too, is I kind of think, everybody's saying they were looking for Trey Mann. I kind of think a lot of that stuff was smokescreen because it just doesn't even fit, the kind of player Tibbs likes. He is the kind of person that can penetrate and get into the lane, but he's so weak, and then he's also weak on the defensive end a little, pretty much. He seems like a person who's got a long way to go, and I don't know if they would have taken him I don't know. I think he would have been a project, and I think a lot of that was smokescreen, in my opinion. If anyone they were trying to get, I think it possibly maybe a Trey Murphy. But I just didn't see, everybody was talking about Trey Mann. I didn't really see it. And so, but I think the pickups were good. The one I didn't understand with the stash over in the farm player, in my opinion, I think they could have just, moved things around a little bit to take Jared Butler. I know he's got that injury issue, but, if you're going to have a guy you're going to stash overseas, why not just, take a shot at a Jared Butler and see what happens. So that's what I got.
Okay. I think maybe they just kind of feel that maybe they feel Rokas is going to have, maybe they feel he has a little bit more potential. They can stash him, let him simmer for a year overseas, and then bring him in next year. I thought I read something that he's going to play Summer League. Maybe I didn't.
Right. No, he is.
He is. He's going to play Summer League. So we'll get a chance to get a look at him, see what it's about. Summer League starts August 8th. Yeah.
Sorry about that. Go ahead.
No, I said Summer League starts August 8th. So, we'll get a chance to get a look at him in Las Vegas this Sunday. Yeah. All right.
Yeah, so I don't know. Well, we'll see how he plays. Hopefully, I was really also hoping for the free agency. Obviously, not a lot of people there for us to pick up, especially at the point guard. If they talk to someone, maybe it would be nice to see if they can get, Kyle Lowry or one of those guys. I was big on Lonzo Ball before, but I'm not even sure I don't think he really fit the, what Tibbs likes to do that much. So it's, I'm not sure what they do in free agency. The only other option I was thinking about was I know people are floating Sexton out there. It was out there, but that's the one person I do hope they get. That's for me. I think that's what they should go for. It's a lot better value for what they can, get for Sexton. And if we get Mitch back and we have Colin Sexton and we get Rose back, I think, in my opinion, I don't think the Hawks knocks us out next year if we get Mitch back and we have Sexton. And also Rose. So that's just what I think. But that's pretty much it.
Hey, I won't mind having Colin Sexton at all if the Knicks could. Now, they've traded their first-round draft picks this year, which means that they would have to do something for next year. Maybe trade next year's. Maybe they trade Charlotte's, the one that they got from Charlotte. I don't know. I mean, they still got picks that they can trade and move, if they're going to make a trade. So we will see. Hey, I appreciate your time, man. Thank you for the call.
All right. Have a good night.
Appreciate it. Speaking of the Knicks Summer League, at the moment, the players that are potentially playing with the New York Knicks, you got Quentin Grimes, of course. Rokas is playing. Miles McBride, Justin Patton, Travis Reed, Jericho Sims, Amir Sims. I thought there was maybe another guy that the Knicks picked up. Maybe I'm missing somebody there. But that's who we have so far with the New York Knicks Summer League, which the Summer League in Las Vegas begins again August 8th. All right. Steph, I guess I'll start with you.
This is really tough.
Who's the first person that the Knicks go to talk to?
I think they call Paul. I mean, it's not a call I would make, but I think he's the first call.
You might be right. He might be that first call. Either Paul or Kyle Lowry. One of the two. Either Paul or Kyle Lowry. You would think that Leon Rose already had some kind of discussion or something with Chris Paul.
That's true.
Then
in that case, Lowry, yeah.
Yeah, you would think he had. I mean, they know each other. I'm sure they text each other. You know what I mean? So I'm pretty sure they had something somewhere. And he kind of knows what Chris Paul stands. Eddie, what do you think?
I'm going to take out players that I think already have their plans in place already. And I'm going to go with somebody this is a really tough question, but I'm going to go with Norman Powell.
Okay. You don't think the Knicks are going to target a point guard first?
I just think the point guards are off the board. I think unless it's Lonzo Ball, but I don't see them going for Alonzo Ball, because if the Knicks have showed me anything, is that they're looking for somebody who can stop and pop with the dribble, right? When they drafted Quentin Grimes and Miles McBride, that was important to them. Somebody who can shoot off the dribble. And I don't know if Lonzo can do that. And like I said, all the other guys, it kind of seems to me like they're already plans that are already set. So I'm going to go in another direction, and I'm going to go for the wing. And I'm going to say, I'm going to say Norman Powell.
Okay. All right. Tony, who do you think is the first person the Knicks go reach out to?
I was going to say Chris Paul as well. I think he's still an option. I don't think him re-signing is set in stone. But if I'm talking outside of the point guard position, I'm gonna say either DeRozan or Oubre.
What about Evan Fournier? Reports are out there that the Knicks and Evan Fournier have some interest in one another. What about Evan Fournier?
I did hear that. I wouldn't be surprised. But if they're talking to him, it's definitely going to be a multi-year, you know what I mean, multi-year deal. It's not a stopgap situation. But I can see that. He has effort on defense, and then everything else in his game is pretty solid. You know, he can get to the rim, he can shoot the ball, he can pass the ball. I think, and he's not the best defender, but the effort is there every time. You know what I mean? All the time.
Right.
So I can see that.
Okay. Not.
All right. I went with Kelly Oubre as the first signing, not the first person to talk to.
The first signing. Okay.
First signing, Kelly Oubre. But I have a bunch of kids that I think will fit Knicks. I'm really big on Gary Trent, and people gonna say, there's no way you can get him to sign. He's a restricted free agent from Toronto, but he'll be the first one I would want to talk to. You know, I would want to try to sign away from. You know, he fits the age. He's had a great season last year. Then Lonzo Ball, the two restricted free agents. But my first signing will be Kelly Oubre. And then I'll try to bring in guys like Lou Williams, Malik Monk, Danny Green, you know, guys with the one, like what Eddie C says, with those 1 year, 2 year contracts. You want to bring in veterans that have some experience. So Lou Williams and Danny Green will fit with what I want to do. You know what I mean? And Drummond. But if I could get what I want, will be Jackson, Oubre, and Drummond. Those would be my top three that I could put it in that 60 million. 60 million.
Jackson, Oubre, and Drummond. You don't think Lou Williams? You mentioned Lou Williams. You don't think he's redundant with Emmanuel Quickly here? You know,
but he's the one that you want around Emmanuel Quickly and McBride. You know, he's that vet. We want Carmelo for RJ and Randall. Why not Williams for Quickly and McBride?
Okay.
And he was this. That's a wish list, but this wish list is more havable, where you could get Lou Williams, a Malik Monk, that's Kentucky. You can go after Linos, that's another Kentucky power forward. Diallo, it's another Kentucky player. You know, put a little Kentucky list there. You can bring back Bobby Portis, Danny Green. But my first signing is Kelly Oubre. Next sign, Kelly Oubre on a multi-year deal.
Okay. You say your first signing, not first person they speak out to, reach out to. Okay.
I think they talk to. I think the Knicks really gonna talk to Leonard, but Oubre is the first. My first sign.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I'm gonna head out of here tonight. Well, this morning, and I'll be back later today, probably around 3:30. You know, as the draft starts to, not the draft. Free agency is going to really start to kick off, and we'll probably hear a lot of stuff going on between. You know what? I'll be paying attention and reading a lot of stuff, so I might even get on earlier than that. Just be on the lookout. You know what I mean, for notification, because it's going to be a lot of stuff popping off and a lot of rumors and a lot of things happening. You know, so I might jump on just so we can keep you updated, keep you going.
Right.
You know what I mean?
And I'll be on at 8:00.
Exactly.
With the Queen's Court. So anything pops off during the show, we could talk about it right then and there.
Yeah, no doubt about it, man. Look forward to some, some information.
6:30.
Oh, what you say, Tony?
That's Tony.
Yeah, it's 6:30, Knicks and Bruises. I don't know if we're doing a triple header or not.
So there we go. Yeah, we got the triple header going on, man. 3:30. You know, I'm gonna be on about 3:30. I may be on earlier. I may be on all day. I don't know. You know, we'll see what's going on. And then Tony's gonna be on at 6:30. Then you got the Queen's Court at 8:00. We're gonna keep you rolling. We're gonna keep you rocking. We're gonna keep you rolling, ladies and gentlemen.
And you got the basketball zombie coming at 7. Nah, I'm just playing. I'm just playing.
So, ladies and gentlemen, we appreciate you. Be on the lookout for information coming out next week. I'm not next week. Coming out tomorrow. All right, and also look for some video from the draft party coming out. The draft party was super dope. It was fun. We can't wait to do it again. We already got the date next year booked, June 23rd. So there'll be information coming out about that in the coming weeks, so that you can get your schedule booked for next year already, ladies and gentlemen. But we got some other events that's gonna come up before then. But we're up out of here. Appreciate your time. Look forward to getting more updates tomorrow. And we're out of here. Peace.
This is NBK, nothing but Knicks. When Sim passed the assist, you know that it's #1 show that breaks down the game. If you can't play defense, stay out my way. Dribble the ball, come down the lane. 5 seconds on the shot clock. Who gon' win us the game? You wanna hear Nick updates and trade rumors? Post-game reviews, this the place you tune in. So tell a friend just to keep the ball moving. Like the page if you feeling the movement. Every game we coming to win. Give us a sub like a player that came off the bench. This is NBK, nothing but Knicks.